The National Association of Realtors has proposed a $418 million settlement to an antitrust lawsuit. The lawsuit pertains to how commissions are paid to real estate agents. For decades here in the United States, if you go to list your home, you will typically negotiate a total commission amount, part of which will be shared from the listing agent over to the buyer's agent. And that portion that's shared to the buyer's agent is required to be advertised to the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service. Sellers were not required to pay buyer's agents more than $1, and more recently they had the option to put $0. But the claims of the case is that by putting those commissions on the MLS up against all the other listings, there was an element of peer pressure involved, and those sellers felt like they were obligated to pay a high amount to the buyer's agent. So again, it wasn't required to pay that amount, but the claim is that the structure of the process made it hard for a seller to pay less than the amounts that have become somewhat common over the years. So the proposal of this settlement is that in addition to the National Association of Realtors paying $418 million to settle, the way that we do things will change to where when you negotiate a listing agreement with a listing agent, you're only negotiating the commission for that one agent. And the buyer's agent has the ability to ask for their own commission. Now, along with this, the buyer's agent would be required to get a contract with their buyer before they even show them a home. So the pressure of making sure the buyer's agent receives compensation for their work is moved over more so to the buyer than it currently is. So how will this impact home sellers? This could save home sellers money if the commission negotiated is less, because keep in mind they no longer would have to choose an amount early in the process. They would be able to kind of play it by ear, see what offers come in, and look at the total strength of the offer before they commit to paying the agent that actually represents the buyer. Now, I've personally met with sellers who don't like this. They say that they would rather pay a large amount, have it published, and they feel that that would help the house move faster. So I've met with sellers, from both different camps. But if this passes, we'll see how it plays out. How will this impact home buyers? This will make things trickier for home buyers. Home buyers will have to take a serious thought as to how much they are willing to commit to ensuring that their agent gets paid. The buyer does not have to pay the commissions out of their own pocket. It is possible to ask the seller. However, there would be no more guarantee on the front end by looking at the MLS as to what commission rates are pre-negotiated for the buyer's agent on that particular property. So my anticipation is that if this goes through, buyer's agents will be more careful, before they commit to an agent. They'll be really careful to make sure they commit to the right agent. They may be more likely to negotiate the rate of pay that the buyer's agent is receiving. And, there may be cases where a buyer doesn't have the funds to pay an agent, and the house that they want gets bought by somebody else because that other person is paying an agent out of pocket, and perhaps the seller on that house does not want to pay both agents. So lastly, how does this impact a real estate agent? This will make the job of, honestly, both agents more difficult, more tricky. It makes the job of the buyer agent harder because right now it's not required that you have a contract with your buyer if you're a buyer's agent. You can meet them at the house, you can show them the house, and if you get a contract, typically your commission will be the amount that's in the listing agreement. So it makes it a little trickier. Both the buyer and the buyer's agent have to have a pretty serious conversation about, the expectations of that buyer's agent pertaining to compensation before that agent is even allowed to show a home. Another interesting point is that the buyer's agent cannot even ask for more than they have negotiated with their buyer. So what I mean by that is if the buyer is only willing to commit to a certain amount and the buyer's agent agrees with that amount and they go and see a house that they like, the buyer's agent is not allowed to ask for more compensation than what they already agreed to in writing with their buyer. So pretty difficult, pretty interesting times. I could see it playing out, a couple different ways. I could see it going for a while and then changing. I could see it going for a while with this new way and having sellers get upset that they're not even allowed to publish a commission, even if they want to. I could also see it going a different way to where the sellers love it, to where the sellers enjoy the fact that they no longer have to choose whether or not they're willing to pay both agents on the front end. Again, on the front end now, they're technically not paying both agents, they're paying the listing agent, and the listing agent is sharing some of that compensation with the buyer's agent. But now with this new program, the listing agent would not have to ask for an amount that would cover both agents. The listing agent could ask for an amount that only covers the listing agent, and then the buyer's agent could ask for their portion and negotiate their portion on the back end. So I know that's a lot of information. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this is a bad idea? Leave me a comment down below. Thanks so much.